Hello folks, this is Sula once again. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. In this game, we're going to be looking at a team composition that I'm calling the Rich Man's Team Comp. This is basically what the idea is, trying to get to a high level and then just replace all of your normal units with legendary units. So we have to get to the end of the game to see that in action, but eventually we'll work our way there. And we'll see what I can put together in terms of just playing like as many of the legendary units as possible. Legendary units being the 5 cost units. This is taken from a ranked game of Teamfight Tactics. This was taken when I was gold 4 at the time. And so it's most of the play. I think all the players here are in gold. I think there was one silver 1 player, but it's basically like a low gold elo rating. As far as what you're seeing here at the start of the game, we're just going through the normal minion rounds. I have grabbed a Maokai with a chain vest off the initial carousel. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I often like to take the chain vest start. I like the fact that it can build into a number of different tanky items. Oftentimes I've had more success starting out with strong frontline champions and then building out kind of the damage dealers from there. And this is another game where that is going to be the case. So I go ahead and I get a Giant's Belt from the first minion round, and then I see something that I definitely want to look to play in terms of a chosen. I find a Warlord Garen right away on the, what is this, round 1-3, the second minion round. Very, very happy with this. I should be able to combine those two items together to make a Sunfire Cape. It's a really good item kind of throughout the entire game right now because there's a lot of healing in Teamfight Tactics at the moment. A lot of the champs that people like to play have a fair amount of healing inbuilt into their kits, and the Sunfire Cape will cut into that healing and prevent that from happening. So now I have the option to pick up some more units here, and I see that there's 2 veins, so I will happily go ahead and pick that up. I think that there was a vein on the previous round as well, but I didn't have enough gold to pick it up, so that's a little bit unfortunate. I had the potential to maybe get a 2-star vein right there, but having veins is not bad. That will give me a damage source. What I really want to find right now is Nidalee, because Nidalee would make both Sharpshooter and would also make Warlord for me. Warlord trait is just something that's very useful to play early in the game. I was guaranteed to get gold from that round, so I will just buy up the rest of the board. And I luck out and get the vein anyway, so that's really nice. And now I'm looking at what else I can play here. So we'll go ahead and make the Sunfire Cape. And I also want to get Thresh in because that will make both Vanguard and Dusk, which is really nice. And now I'm trying to figure out what else I can play here. So I'm going to level, and I actually want to pick up the Janna because I think that's what would be most useful. But I realize I don't have enough gold to pick up the Janna, so I'm just going to level here, gamble that I will have enough gold to pick up the Janna on the next minion round. And so I actually only play 3 units, even though I actually have 4. So kind of sloppy to do that. Obviously, I'll mismanage the gold a little bit. Janet would be the most useful to put in here just because she'd provide a little bit more shielding and protection. I have enough damage with the vein in the back. What I would like is another way for Garen to stay alive, but it ends up working out because fortunately I hit a player who didn't even pick up the last minion, or maybe they were away from their computer or something. So now I'll be able to toss in the Janna, and I was not punished for being greedy there. Here on this board, there's not really a whole lot I want. I'll grab the Hecarim just because it gives me another Vanguard option, but I don't really need the Hecarim in here. Hecarim would be if I want another person to stand on the front line and soak up damage. Garen should be good enough for that. And I'd rather have Thresh in there because his Dusk trait is going to pair with Vayne better than Hecarim's Elderwood trait. Looking at what other people are playing right now, I probably should have done that a little bit earlier, but I was fiddling with my own team composition. I think that what I have is pretty strong based on what I saw when I was glancing through. I think I probably beat just about all of these team compositions, which would be really nice. I'd love to get out to a nice winning streak and then just use that extra gold in order to get to higher levels and then to try to fill out my team composition with more expensive champions. There's an example right there of Janna putting that shield. Between Janna and Thresh, I actually have quite a bit of shielding. So the idea is Vayne will deal damage in the back, Thresh and Janna will toss those shields on, and then Garen will just frontline tank for us. Here I'm just going to buy up extra champions on the board. Don't really need them, but you never know. And right here, I get another nice bit of luck. There's an early Jinx here, which is going to be fantastic. That's going to allow me to play sharpshooters. So again, I would prefer to have Nidalee because Nidalee would have made would have made Warlord. I actually still am not making use of that Warlord chosen ability. I mean, I'm making use of the fact that Garen's a 2-star champ who has, I believe he has extra health. I think that that's his chosen ability. I could be wrong, but I believe he gets extra health. So I'm definitely making use of my chosen in the sense that I've got a unit that is tankier than it would be otherwise. Without the 2-star Garen, I wouldn't have frontline. But I'm not making use of the Warlord trait, which would give my Warlord units extra health and extra spell power. Like, look at Garen. He just soaks up everybody's damage right there. And the shields keep him alive. And so then we're able to win this round, deal 8 damage, and I sell the Janet to get to 10 gold. And we're off to a perfect start. Three wins in 3 rounds. And that's going to get me off to a win streak and start pumping that extra gold into my, into my back pocket. So one of the things that you want to do, if possible, is to get out to a strong start, to build strong early game team compositions. It will just set you up so much better. Right now, I don't think the game is in a state where loss streaking is a great idea. Yes, there is kind of an ability to do that if you can run fortune and then have like a long fortune streak and get a big payout, but that's inherently very risky, particularly if you're playing a ranked game like this one. I strongly encourage people just to focus on trying to play strong boards, bank up health, make strong team compositions, and don't do something risky like rely on trying to make a team composition on 20 health or something, because if you screw up, you're suddenly out of the game. Okay, on this carousel, I was of course picking last because I'd won all the rounds, and good news, nobody else is win streaking, so everybody else has lost at least 1 round, so nobody else is on a long income streak. But I'm able to get a bow on the carousel, which is, again, fantastic for me because it is going to allow me to make the Runaan's Hurricane on Vayne. Really, really good item on Vayne, in the sense that she will be able to apply her, I don't know what to call it, her passive ability, the name is escaping me at the moment. It's the same thing from, I guess it's her Silver Bolts. That's it. I casted a lot of League of Legends games back in the day, and sometimes takes me a minute to remember what the heck some of these abilities are named. But it allows her to put that ability on multiple champions at once, and that way she will be doing the true damage on her 3rd attack to multiple targets at a time. It's just a really good item for her. So this is like a perfect fight. Garen soaks up the entire enemy team's front line. Jinx gets off a stun. Vayne is applying the damage. Actually, Garen did the most damage in that fight. But we cut right through the enemy team comp. We take no damage. All 5 of my units are still alive. And so we end up doing quite a bit of damage to the enemy team. I think we did the full 10 damage there. It was either 10 or 9 damage, something. I think it was 10 damage right there because all of my units survived. This is another reason why playing a strong board can be a good thing to do. I mean, okay, obviously this is not complicated. You'd rather be strong than weak, but having a board that's win streaking is just inherently great because it also allows you to do more damage to your opponents at the same time, which is always really, really nice to have. I do have an option to grab the Katarina here and then look to play Fortune, so that is another possibility. But my thinking was I probably I was thinking that maybe I would do better by playing the Shinja. I wasn't exactly sure which of the two would be better. If I were to toss in the Katarina and then another Fortune champ, I could get Fortune. But I was doing so well here with just playing kind of standard, not going the Fortune route, which doesn't provide any in-combat abilities. I thought that I would do better not to try to look to play Fortune here. Just focus on being strong and trying to win streak as much as possible now that I've got this lengthy win streak going on. This poor person that I'm up against, we actually kill their front line so fast that Galio doesn't even hit anyone when the Galio dives in. The win gets me back up to 20 gold, so I'm perfectly fine from an economic perspective. Being at 20 gold here going into the Krug's minion round is pretty much right where you want to be. And that's going to get me up to 30, and then I see the Jarvan there, and I'm like, all right, well, this is great. So I'm picking up the Warlord champs just because they give me options to eventually look to go into Warlord 6 if I want it. Jarvan in particular is nice because that gives me an option to play Keeper, which is another really strong trait here. And then I was looking, I just need to get another Keeper champ. But sometime in the middle of this Krug round, I noticed that Elise is sitting there on the bench. And I was like, oh, you know what? I can pick up Elise. I could look to level to 6. I could put in Jarvan. He'll maintain Warlord. And then I could put in Elise, and that'll give me a Cultist option. And then I get more champions here. I get 8 gold worth of champions. The Ahri I don't really want to play. And the Shen, I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Shen, I might want to play down the road, but I think I'd rather sell him right now just to get more income and then use that income put it towards leveling, put more champions in, keep trying to stay ahead of the curve in terms of what units I have. I also, by the way, I find the Nidalee, but for right now, I don't need to play the Nidalee. I think I'd rather have the Jinx because I am a little bit lacking in crowd control. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to level to 6. This is an early point in time in the game to level to 6, but I have the money to do that because I've been win streaking, because I got those 2 champions that were both 4-cost champs, the Shen and the Ahri. I sold them both, so that was like an extra 8 gold, and I've been win streaking to get that extra income. So if I win this round, I can potentially get up to well, I guess I can't get up to 30, but like I'm not in bad shape on income at all. And with the 6 units in, now I have Warlord 3, Dust 2, Sharpshooter 2, Keeper 2, and Vanguard 2, and I am just destroying these team compositions. Like, it's not even close. I'm annihilating the other players, so I'm able to keep the win streak going. Yeah, we're gonna do 13 damage. That's a lot of damage to do to someone. Like, if I'm consistently doing that much damage to other people, I'm knocking health out of the game, and ultimately that's the whole goal in this game, is to knock everybody else out. So I see the Elise right here, and then I also see the Kennen. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to play the Kennen here because that's better. I will pick up the Elises and just hold them for the time being because I would rather play a 2-star Elise than a 1-star Kennen. But I'm pretty happy with the Kennen because that gives me another crowd control option. Kennen will make Ninja. And since he's the only ninja in, he'll be, get the extra attack damage and the extra spell power from having just one ninja. I'm looking at some of these other team compositions. There are a couple that are cause for concern. This is one of the stronger team comps right here. Ru King Wen, just because they're going the Elderwood Vagar team composition. Now their Vagar has not, this Vagar is just starting out. It's a 1-star Vagar. It does not have a blue buff yet, just has a 1-star tier, and then has the Jeweled Gauntlet so that the spells can critically strike. So like this build is not there yet, but when this Vagar becomes 2-star, this is going to be a lot scarier. And look how much closer this round is than all the others. It's in part because my comp is a lot tankier against physical damage than magic damage. Like Garen has the Vanguard, and he has the Sunfire Cape, so he has a lot of armor, but he's not nearly as tanky against magic damage, so that's partly why you see that round being a lot closer there. And by the way, my bench is starting to get pretty full. This is not ideal. You don't really want to be holding this much money on your bench, but I wanted to have the possibility to go up to 6 Warlords. I want to be at the position where I can put in 6 Warlords if I want right now, but I think that I do better by playing 3 Warlords and maintaining all these many other synergies. Like if I were to play 6 Warlords, I'd have to right now. I could keep 1 synergy. I would probably keep Sharpshooter in, but I would lose Dusk, I would lose Keeper, I would lose Vanguard. I think that it's better to play all these units than go up to the 6 Warlords, but I want the option to do that. I also don't know which of these units I'm likely to 2-star first. So which units I play in the comp are also dependent on which units I'm 2-starring here, whether I get the 2-star Jarvan or if I would get the 2-star Katarina or something. So that's partly why I'm holding all these, but it is costing me a fair bit of money to do so. I could be leveling faster if I were to put in these units. If I were to sell some of these units and have a smaller bench right there. We've got another carousel. Again, I have not lost yet. I've won 8 rounds in a row, and some of the other players are getting pretty low as far as what you're seeing over there. The only item I have right now on the bench is a Negatron Cloak. So given that I have to pick late, I don't have that many options. But I think out of the ones that are here, I'd like to get the Recurve Bow just because this will make a Zerat portal and give me a little bit more frontline. I didn't see anything that particularly jumped out as far as a damage item, so I'll go for the tank item instead. I would have the option to make a Zephyr here, but Zephyr is really not that good in the early game. It's more something you make later on. So we'll make the Zephyr here. And at this point, I'm looking at what's on my bench. I'm trying to think about, is there anything else I'd want to play here? So I'm going to go ahead and level to 7. Again, I'm kind of sacking my econ to do this, but I wanted to have the chance to get extra units in. So we're going to go ahead and jump up to 6 Warlords. And again, that's why I was holding all these units. Now, this does cost me Keeper, but I think that it was probably worthwhile to do that. We are keeping Thresh in as the extra unit, and I'm trying to box Vayne over in the corner. So I go up to 6 Warlords, 2 Sharpshooters, Vanguard and Dusk. I have the Jinx out for right now, but I may put her back in later on. And as for the Keeper option, I still have the Kennen on my bench. I should probably sell the Elises, which would free up a little bit of space. So this is another one of the players who's playing a similar team composition, Love 3579. But this person does not have the same synergies that I do, and there's just a weaker version of the Warlord comp. They also have 3 items on the bench, which is really a mistake. You don't want to have those unused items if you can avoid it. That person's also lost, what, half their health? So it would have been better to play those items and maybe not lose as much health as opposed to being where I am. That person has a force of nature too, by the way. So I guess they um, got two of the spatulas off carousel. So there we go. I've boxed in the Vayne in the corner because she's the big damage dealer still, even though she just has the Hurricane. And I've got the Warlord 6 for the extra health and the extra spell power. So you saw I was playing Keeper, and then I dropped the Keeper once I could make Warlord 6 while still having Vanguard and Dusk in. I wish that I could play a better unit than the 1-star Nidalee, but Nidalee's really important for traits because she makes both Sharpshooter and Warlord, and I do kind of need both of these. Here's another player who's getting fairly low on health. They actually are playing through a Kennen that has really weird items. Maybe they just hit a Chosen Kennen or something. The Katarina that I picked up is doing a surprisingly large amount of damage. She actually did more damage than anyone else in that fight because she got into a nice spot in the back lines and then got off her ult. So that is 10 rounds won. 10 rounds played and 10 rounds won. So things have been doing great here from that perspective. I'm continuing to hit some of my units. Jarvan gets 2-starred. I grab another Katarina. And I've just been super wealthy, and because I've been on this great win streak, I have really been trying to look. I basically have been playing like someone who has a big chip stack in poker, if I can make that analogy. Like if you have the big stack in poker, you try to bully the other players, you try to play lots of hands, you try to get people to have to commit their chips when they're not sure about what happens. So like you play more aggressively, and that's what I've been trying to do in this game as well. That's like I said, that's why I refer to this game as kind of like the rich man strategy. Is I've been leveling aggressively. I've been cutting into my econ again and again and again just to try and level as quickly as possible and to try to get this. By the way, there's a Riven here, and I should pick up the Riven. I think that this is one champ that I miss. I should look to pick up the Riven and play that for my keeper option. I don't need the Kennens. I can just pick. Oh, okay, I did spot that. So I would like to put Keeper back in at level 8. And I can do that by putting the Riven in, which would give me another Dusk option and would also then allow me to would get Keeper back in as well. And I'm going to make use of the items I get. I'm going to make a Guardian Angel that is just kind of a generic use item that's good for any AD champion. And I go ahead and make the Chalice. I actually think I make a mistake by putting it on the Jarvan. I don't think that Jarvan was the best carrier of this item. I think I would have done better to put it on the Katarina. In part because she can make use of the AP, but also because Jarvan as a keeper kind of has to stand in some weird places. And I can kind of put the Katarina in more places. Like if you noticed right there that I wasn't even getting full value from the Chalice because there's no one standing to the right of Jarvan. And that actually is going to cause some issues. I'm not always going to get full value out of this Chalice, which is really sloppy of me because it's a useful item. Yeah, still winning these rounds. Still haven't lost a round yet. And now that I've got the 64 gold, I believe that I just leveled. Yeah, I just do the again same thing. I just leveled to 8 here, and there we go. I'm going to put the keepers in. I'm going to put units next to them. But look, because I need to put Jarvan in a place to get the keeper bonus, I need to put units next to him. The Chalice is kind of going to waste. Like that Chalice bonus should be going to the Vayne, and it should be going to the Katarina. So I'm kind of wasting some of that benefit. But like I said, probably should have just put the item on someone different. Oh well, it still does provide value to Jarvan himself and also to the units that are next to him. So once again, we are, like I said, I leveled early to level 8, but I want to keep this win streak going, and like I'm at 8 units. Like I get to put the extra unit in, and because I'm a higher level, now I have these 5% odds to flop a legendary unit on each one of these. Each time I see a new set of units, I have a 5% odds to find legendaries. So again, I'm using my gold advantage to just snowball me further ahead. Like you can do that by sitting above 50 gold at all times, but I really think that when you're winning like this, like you want to keep the win streak going because that provides so much extra income. And look, what do we have right here? We found an early Yone. Okay, so now I was like, okay, can I play something else to get Yone in? And I see that I have 3 Dusk. So I can potentially take out the Thresh and then play Yone instead. I was like, is that better? I was like, you know what? I think that is better because Yone is really useful. He's a legendary unit, 5-cost champion. The Yone is going to be able to shred through the armor and magic resistance of the enemy units that he's up against. And I will hold on to the Thresh. A 2-star Thresh seems useful. Gives me the option to play into 4 Dusk if I can find a Cassiopeia or something like that for the late game. But like a lot of these enemy team compositions are very bunched up. So like watch the Yone in this fight. He's filling up his mana bar. He's going to dash into the enemy team. There he goes. And now he's just cut the armor and MR of everyone on the enemy team. Now he is not as absurd in this patch as he was a couple of patches ago when he cut everyone's armor and magic resistance by 90%. By the way, that player has like 6 items on the bench. It's just crazy. And this player that's taking damage here also has 4 items on the bench. So don't do this, folks. If you're playing ranked, don't have all these items sit on the bench. It's not smart. So Yone not as overpowered as he was before, but still a really good champion. So if I can 2-star him, that will be fantastic for my comp because he'll just, do what he does, shred through everybody's armor and MR. And he also gives me an adept option if I want to play into Irelia and Shen later on. Although I don't think that I actually end up doing that from what I remember in this game. So I have last pick. There's already one player who's out. I haven't even lost a round, and there's a player who's out of the game. There's another person down at 9 HP who I'm hoping will get knocked out. But I do have the choice of other items, and I go ahead and grab the BF sword here. My plan is, even as I get a 2-star cat, and I get a Lee Sin, which, I mean, I'll just pick that up, even though I have no intention of playing it at the moment. I'll pick that up as something I can maybe play later. My thinking is I'm going to replace Vayne with a Jhin down the road, just because Jhin is a better holder of these items. They're pretty good Jhin items overall. Like I can definitely make Jhin into a pretty useful unit here. Now I'm going to reposition once again. I'm still not getting full use out of this Chalice. As I said, I should have put the Chalice probably on Katarina, I think would have been better, but I want to box in the Vayne. I can't put Yasuo next to someone because he loses the Exile trait. I moved everybody over to the right side because I was looking at some of these other comps, and the ones I was most concerned about were positioning over on the right-hand side, and I wanted to have Katarina in particular jumping onto the carries that were over there. There are 2 different people who are playing a Veigar comp, and their Veigars in both cases were on the right-hand side, so that's where I wanted to station my units, so that Katarina would be jumping onto them. And look, here's another legendary unit. There's a Kayn that's here. I'm going to pick up the Kayn. I should have picked that up before leveling. That was a little bit silly because if I pick up the Kayn now, I drop under the 50 gold threshold. But I've won 14 rounds in a row. Again, I've been super wealthy. But what I've been trying to emphasize in this game is not la-di-da, look at me, I'm great, I win all the rounds. What I'm trying to emphasize in this video is how you use your gold advantage to try to bully around the other players. And I think I've been doing that pretty effectively in this game. Consistently leveling early, and because my level is so much higher than these other players, I have access to the legendary champions at an earlier date than the other players, and then I can look to 2-star them. And hopefully 2-star them, because that's really what allows you to win in late game, is if you can 2-star those legendary units. They are very, very strong. Now, this is a pretty close match, but we have just barely enough to win this. This person's been, that person's only level 6. They've been slow rolling at level 6 for 3-star champions, whereas I am going to higher levels, and I think that that's more consistent. You definitely can win right now by like slow rolling for 3 stars, but I think it's more consistent to try to push to higher levels and play the 5-cost units. So there we go. That's 5 full rotations, or not 5, 3 full rotations, 3 full rotations of 5 rounds as we end stage 4 here. And I have not lost yet. I have won 15 rounds in a row. So it's not going to take much longer for me to get to level 9. Now I will not keep leveling early. I'm going to get to level 9, but I want to make sure I have gold to roll at level 9. I'm going to sell the Garen at level 9 and look for a 5-cost Chosen. You can only get the 5-cost Chosens at level 9. They are ridiculously powerful. You just instantly get a legendary unit. So if I can get there with some money to roll, I have a chance to play something really strong. And then I get a spatula here, which is another nice bit of RNG. It's like, okay, well, there's an obvious thing to make with this. I can make Aspect of Dusk, and then that'll allow me to get up to 4 Dusk. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to put it on Yone, make him into a Dusk unit. So if I should be able to play 4 Dusk. That shouldn't be hard to manage. I was actually looking right now, can I take something out and get Thresh back into the team composition? I was trying to weigh, but I think that I can't do that and maintain Warlord. Because like I can't take out the Riven, I can't take out any of the Warlord units. I could take out, and I'm gonna make a Giant Slayer with the extra recurve bow, because that's again another item that's gonna be good on a sharpshooter. Maybe not quite as good on Jhin because you can't make use of the attack speed on it. Here is one of these Veigar comps that I am focused on. You can see that this person has made just about perfect Vagar items back there. But Yone is going to get off his attack, which is really key. That's one of the reasons why I'm so keen to play Yone in this match. Because the comps I'm most worried about are like really bunched up in the corner trying to protect Vagars, and Yone just absolutely destroys those setups. So that's another win, and we're up to 16 wins in a row right now. Now, I am not expecting to win every single round for the entire game. By the way, there's an Ezreal, so we'll just pick that up too. Why not? I'm not really planning, but maybe if I hit 2 other Ezreals and I get Ezreal 2-star, then I'll look to play it. Now, I am not expecting to win every game. In fact, you really should not, if you're playing correctly, you really should not win every single round throughout the game. Only if you're against people who have no clue what they're doing should that happen. I'm actually expecting to start losing rounds. I was actually surprised I won that last round on 5-1. I was expecting to lose because I have not been upgrading my team composition for the last couple rounds. I've just been sitting on what I have, stockpiling legendary units, and then trying to get up to the level 9. So I'm not expecting to win all these rounds. Sooner or later, this win streak is going to come to a close. Jarvan gets off a fantastic ultimate, but we need to kill that Vagar. Like I said, this is another one of those Vagar comps, and it looks like we're going to come up a little bit short this time. So we are finally going to take a loss in this game. 16 in a row, couldn't get to 17. So like I said, these are the comps I'm worried about. David Bond, unfortunately, has kind of made his Vagar comp when he's down to 9 HP, but honestly should probably have rolled earlier. And then that person's going to get knocked out with like a gazillion champs on the bench. Probably wasn't quite able to make their team comp. Right here, I'm at 66 XP. Now, I could go to level 9 here, but I'm going to go to it after the carousel because I want to make sure I hit level 9 with enough money to roll a little bit. At level 9, I'll have, I think it's 15% odds to find the legendary 5-cost units. And I'll also have a chance to roll a bit and hopefully find a 5-cost chosen. I have good odds to find one of them there at level 9. Garen will finally be retired. I've been thinking for the last couple rounds about how I'm going to do this. Garen, if he's sold, will take me down to 4 warlords. Then I can take out another warlord. I will probably take out the Xinjiao because he's not really doing that much. And then I'm going to sell Vayne and replace Vayne with the Jhin. So I also need to find extra Jhins. But let's see, this composition is looking pretty good. And I wanted to definitely go up to 4 Dusk because by playing the if I put Thresh back in, I'm back at 4 Dusk again, and that will really help Riven, and it'll help Yone a lot too. So here, this ends up being close, but look, dodge, dodge, dodge. Yeah, I don't think that the Zerat minion had enough to kill that Jhin anyway, but without the dodges, it might have been close. There's also a 3-star Hecarim and a 3-star Nunu walking around on this person's comp, so that's kind of scary. But hopefully, if we can, get some of these legendary units and 2-star them, hopefully that'll be enough. All right, now once again, I have late priority here. The thing I most want is the blue buff. Blue on Yone is really good. A Dusk Yone with blue buff would be just amazing, but I am picking last. The other players are going to get earlier cracks at this, so I don't get that. There's 2 other things I was looking at. One was the Thief's Glove. Thief's Glove's always pretty good, but I see the Shroud of Stillness, and again, the comps I'm most worried about are the ones that are very bunched up on the right-hand side. David Bond, and then the Ru King Wenwen. They both are kind of running Vagar comps, and they're both really bunched up on the right-hand side. So I thought the Shroud would actually be better against these comps. We'll see if that manifests. Okay, so go to level 9. Now we need to roll. There's another Riven. And then instantly I see that there is a Dusk Lilia, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I can actually make 6 Dusk. Boom, 6 Dusk it is. That's going to be just fantastic. Now we're going to transfer the items over. We have to put Vayne in, so we're going to sell the Nidalee. We're going to put in Jhin. Let's start getting these items on Jhin. And now I need to put these other items on a frontliner of some kind. We'll put the Sunfire on the Yone, just to make him a little bit tankier. And I'll put the Zerat on Jarvan. So we still have Keeper in, we still have Warlord in, we still have Sharpshooter, but we've gone to 6 Dusk, and that is going to power up those Dusk Champions something fierce. So they all have 40% base spell power and then another 70% spell power. Like, I don't even have Yone 2-starred or Riven 2-starred yet, but fortunately we have there we go, Yone cuts through the resistances on this Hecarim, and we have the Sunfire Cape on him as well to cut into his healing. So now it's just a matter of doing what like I said, this is the rich man's comp here. We're just going to roll, and we're going to see what legendary units we can 2-star. Like, we're going to find Zillion. I would love to get Zillion into this comp somewhere. So there's Riven 2-star. There is another Zillion, there is another Lee Sin. Again, we're just waiting to see what units we're hitting here. All right, and there's an Ezreal. So what else can we get into there? There's a 2-star version of Zillion. So we definitely want to get Zillion in. I was like, what can I take out? What's not really doing anything in this cup? I was like, oh, you know what? Warlord's not really doing anything. Let's just sell that. And then we'll move this over. I still am not getting good use out of my Chalice, by the way. Note that I still wish I hadn't put that item on the Jarvan. I wish I had put it on Katarina, because then I could have sold it and put it on the Zillion. So now I've got a 2-star Zillion in. Again, I'm losing synergies here. Like, in terms of traits, I'm actually losing stuff. But I'm still getting a stronger team composition overall, just because these legendary units are so strong. And you might notice I'm kind of annihilating these other team compositions. It's not really that close right now. And this is, like I said, this is kind of what the whole rich man's comp is all about, just stacking as many legendary units as possible. I do need to keep some of the units in because I want 6 Dusk. So I end up selling the Thresh, and then I end up selling the Jarvan because I'm not playing Warlord anymore. So just replace Jarvan with Azir, and now I can finally get some of these items in a better setup here. I still have the Xinjiao in the comp as well, which should not be in here. That's the one other unit that's still left over and is in a state that shouldn't be there. So again, I'm looking to see what other units are here. I definitely can take out Shin because I'm not playing Warlord anymore. He was just in there for Warlord. So I'm not the fastest at doing this. There are definitely better players. So there's Lee Sin. So what do we take out? Now we take out Xin Zhao, and now we put in 2-star Lee Sin. So let's just keep going. I'm looking to 2-star more of these units. Can I find? So I get the 2-star Kayn, and I'm actually looking for a spot for the Kayn. I don't see a great place to put the Kayn. Probably what you do here would be to remove. Probably the best thing I could do here would be to remove the Azir and play the 2-star Kayn. I think that is probably better. Even though it would lose me Keeper, I think that's still probably better. I'm not even positioned very well for Keeper at the moment. So now I want to put the Zerat down, and I'll put the Chalice on the Lee Sin. So I did also get the good fortune to get a Zephyr, and I'm trying to position the Zephyr to hit the Vegars in these Veigar team compositions. Now, I actually don't end up hitting anything against this comp, but I wasn't worried about this team composition. It was the Vegars that concerned me, and I'm actually going to knock that team comp out with no trouble. So this is the player I'm more concerned about, the Ruking Wen, who's got that Veigar team comp. So now I'm just trying to roll down. Again, I am not the fastest at this. The real pro players you see on stream are much faster at doing this. But there we go, 6 Dusk, 40% spell power for all other champs, and then 70 spell power for the Dust champs themselves. That Lilia is super duper strong. Now, I wish in retrospect I'd grabbed the Thief's Glove for the Lilia. That would be amazing if she had the Thief's Glove. I'm trying to 2-star the Jhin here, and I'm not going to find it. And it's not time to put in the Kayn. Like I said, I probably should have taken out Azir and put in the 2-star Kayn, because 2-star Kayn's, even with no items, is pretty ridiculous. Now, that player did move their champs at the last second, so I didn't get off a great Shout of Stillness, but watch Lee Sin. Lee's on it. He's just going to kick these units right off the playing field as the 2-star Lee Sin. And, like, this isn't even remotely close. We just annihilate this team composition again. Even with I think that player actually quit at the last second, which is why it showed 108 damage being done or something crazy like that. But yeah, that's it. A very, very easy game as it turned out. And hey, I'm actually even going to get a promotion to, I think, Gold 3. So hey, Gold 4 to Gold 3. I know it's for a lot of people that's not much, but I was still happy to see it. So anyway, like I said, I wanted to showcase the power of using your economic advantage to bully the other players around. I think this game was a really good example of doing that. And then just, if you out-leveled everybody, shifting into the legendary units, they're really strong. I just would have played whatever I 2-starred, and that's what I did. So anyway, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys are having a great week. Until next time, take care.